the regular Dauphin council meeting. We acknowledge that that the land on which we gather is Treaty 2, known as the First Nations territory in Anishinaabe Nation, as well as the homeland of the Métis people. There's been no additions. So moved by Councillor Laughlin, seconded by Councillor Juba. Be it resolved that Council accepts the regular agenda as presented. Any questions? I'll call the questions. All in favor? Motion carried. Councillor Eilers was trying to get a hold of her by phone, and it's going to voicemail all the time, so we, I don't know, maybe try again sometime. Also, I thank Deputy Mayor Bellemare for handling the February 11th meeting. So I was out of town, so thank you very much, and this apparently was handled very well. Moved by Deputy Mayor Bellemare, seconded by Councillor Stakilo. Be it resolved that the reading be waived and the Council accepts and approves as circulated the minutes of the following meeting, the regular Council meeting minutes of February 11th. Any questions? Call the questions. All in favor? Motion carried. Today we have a delegation from Dauphin Neighborhood Renewal. The Director, Mary Meyer, and her assistant, Allison Moss. They're going to inform us on the activities of the Neighborhood Corporation. Go ahead.
Thank you. We were introduced, but I'll introduce us again. My name is Mary Meyer, and this is Allison Moss. Together, we work for Dauphin Neighborhood Renewal Corporation. Dauphin Neighborhood Renewal Corporation opened in Dauphin in 2008. Dauphin was declared a Neighborhoods Alive community in 2007 through the efforts of a community initiative initiated application. We employ 2 people. We have an annual core budget of $75,000. Additional to that, we have an annual funding of $17,000 for our community liaison position and another $25,000 annually for our small grants program. We would like to highlight some of the money we brought into the community in 2018. As mentioned, the community liaison position and the small grants fund. We were also successful in 2 neighborhood renewal fund applications through Neighborhoods Alive. One for $29,000 plus for the Unity project, which we'll explain in more detail later. And another for Green Dauphin, $14,700. Again, we'll go into a little more detail on that. We brought in $13,600 from New Horizons for Seniors. That's federal funding. And we were awarded another $2,900 through Help Me Together Now. So on top of our $75,000 core budget, we were able to bring in another over $100,000. For the coming year, we have already put in 4 grant applications in the order of about $26,000, and our community liaison and small grants funding have been approved for this coming year. So currently we're at about $64,500, and we're waiting on that NRF or the iteration of it for this year to be opened in early April, and some other opportunities.
So probably a lot of you have heard about Unity, our Women's Maker Collective. We've had the opportunity to share that quite widely in the community. It's a pilot project that's run from September until March of this year based on the Neighborhoods Alive funding, but we're very optimistic about the future, and it will likely change a little bit, but that's fairly natural. The program is based on the model of a social enterprise, essentially meaning we're attempting to create a small business that really reinvests the profits back into the participants and community for future sustainability. The aim or philosophy of the initiative is to create a local program that brings women together to make and market handmade goods, and along the way develop employability and business-related skills. So it's quite notable that women have come together from all different walks of life and really created quite a strong team over this winter, and been the foundation for new friendships and relationships, which is important when you're talking about alleviating social isolation in addition to the employability skills. So it's kind of a neat initiative that brings together public and private investments and supports meaningful community development programming in our community. So we've spent the fall and winter experimenting with some different mediums. You'll note we have etched glassware for sale. Over the winter we had some winter-themed glasses, and what is brand new and just went on sale last week is a new set of glasses based on the City of Dauphin statue series. So it's quite nice, and we've sold a couple sets already, and you'll note optimism up there. Okay, so you've probably also seen some of our concrete vessels that we were essentially self-taught by the collective. We've sold those vessels empty with succulents and also with candles poured in them. This project has brought together a lot of neat partnerships from the region. So in terms of the beeswax, we met and started working with a gal who runs the Bewitched company out of Laurier. So she taught us how to go about doing that and to work with the wax before you get to the candle pouring stage. So it's been really a neat experience for our collective. We've used looms to make some knitwares that have pretty much sold for the winter. This is a neat element that we probably will explore, and it might not be in terms of knitwares, but this is something that participants can take home between sessions and work on should they choose to. We also partnered with West Sky Apiaries to do some woodworking in his shop, and also learn to make tapered candles, which is not something that you can set up in Parkland Crossing, which is where we're predominantly housed. So we've also made some cutting boards and wooden tea light holders that are also on sale. So in addition to that making and marketing and hands-on customer service, we've also partnered with local training and learning opportunity service providers in the community. So this is a picture of Workplace Education Manitoba coming out to join us, and they worked with our ladies to figure out pricing for the wares and really touch on the essential skills that surround that, but go through all of them, and customer service, communication, mathematics, all critical to this type of venture. We've also visited Parkland Job Opportunity Center as a collective, but then our gals went individually for one-on-ones with the staff there. We did food handling, which is a certificate-based program, and also some of our ladies will be going to mental health first aid. So it's kind of important to think about a balance between learning opportunities and certificate-based things that can go on resumes. This just gives you a sense of where we've been, and really noting that we have made some modest profits that can be reinvested back into the collective to run the program and purchase needed materials for the future. And those sales have been a really good way to get out there and connect with community and let them know what we're up to, and a very good networking opportunity for our participants. They get to go places and do things that they may not otherwise have the chance to do. So we've been to the Watson Arts Center, pop-up shops at the mall, Fusion Credit Union, the Chamber Luncheon, the library last week. We're at Oldest Night of the Year supporting our partner Parkland Crossing. I think I'd like to take this opportunity also to note that we have permanent space now at Parkland Crossing. So we were able to hire a young fellow to help us prepare the space that was once storage space, which will become a maker space and a storefront. We have a grant out to hire a developmental employment position there. Hope to have it open 1 or 2 mornings a week where the public can go in and purchase, and somebody gets some neat job skills. So we're just working on updating our publication materials as we're winding down the pilot and looking towards the future. But you can also find us on social media, and yeah, we're out there.
The next neighborhood renewal funding project that I mentioned was Green Dauphin. This is a rainwater catchment system. So what we're planning to do is, or have been doing, is we've purchased 3 of these collection basins. They will be installed on stands that have been fabricated and painted by Jim Hess Industries. They were designed and engineered by Edifice Engineering. These will be installed on concrete pads on the south side of the Rotary Arena. Now, these are actually photographed upside down, so they're about 7 feet off the ground. They're going to hold these catchment basins about 7 feet off the ground, making it a completely green project in that you don't need a pump then to get it from the basin into the truck. It's gravity fed from the basin into the watering truck. This project will save communities in Bloom approximately $3,000 a year in watering costs. The funding we got from New Horizons for seniors, that's federal funding. It went towards running a program we called Cyber Seniors. So with this program, we had 12 students from the Mackenzie Middle School and 1 teacher join us for 6 sessions and help us teach 19 seniors all kinds of technology skills, how to use their phone, how to use a tablet, iPad, how to use Facebook, how to use YouTube, how to use Snapchat. Like, they were teaching them everything, and more than the skills they learned, which I think the seniors were very thrilled with, but more than those skills, a lot of bonds were built, and the kids really learned, like, these seniors have something cool to teach me, and the seniors the same. You know, one was a teacher, had taught the kid's mom. Like, it was just really heartwarming as a project to see these connections made. And because we were able to put that money into buying the capital that's needed to run this project, all we need now is more seniors, more students, and the project can keep going. And both Mackenzie Middle School and the Dauphin Senior Center are interested in keeping it going, which is great. You know, we were able to sort of make the introduction, and so with minimal guidance from us going forward, I think that the Cyber Seniors project will continue. The capital that we bought, the iPads, the cases, the headphones, and the keyboards and things will be housed at the Senior Center, and so that project can continue without us going forward. So I guess I should also mention that we also had a lot of support for that project from TELUS, and so they came down with a couple of their staff just about for every session and really helped us out. The library, the same, they came and made sure everybody knew how to use their online apps and e-books and all those kinds of things. So we had a lot of support for this project in the community.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, small grants is the next slide, and this is our 2018 small grants funds. So we had an application from Second Level Boxing Club. So really anything that is community-wide and accessible, we are able to fund through our small grant, whether it's capital purchases or what have you. So the Allied Arts Council was able to apply to us for some new chairs and tables. The Quilters Guild uses the space, and they were snagging their beautiful quilts on the slivers of the tables. So they're able to replace tables and chairs in the back hall. Parkline Crossing started a new program called Bread and Jam, and so we were able to support them in starting that up. So as you can see by this list here, we've really been able to spend our $25,000 wisely in the community. Fort Dauphin puts on some great free events, and they're really well attended. So this is the list of what we were able to spend our small grants on this year.
And in summary, many of you are probably fairly well aware of our work in the West End around the community garden. This year we extended that through some funding through Healthy Together Now, and there are additional garden beds in front of the food bank, which is a nice stop on the way. to get in line there. Should also note Secord Pro and Burst Greenhouses have been incredibly supportive and make a lot of this possible too. And I think some of you have seen the video. If we still have time, I'd play the minute. It's 3 minutes, the video. Okay. He's got this all set up.
What's that?
Audio.
There's just music.
Oh.
Yeah, there's no. I'd like to thank you for having us. I don't know if anybody has any questions about anything we presented, but we'd be happy to take them.
Councilors, Evan, Councilor Mikhailo.
It's more of a comment than a question. I've had the fortunate opportunity of being on the board for my time on council, so I just want to say thank you for the hard work that the both of you do. I've been able to see firsthand the time and effort that goes into that, and obviously I've been able to see the results of all the projects that have been accomplished. And you know, I know it kind of comes down to this time of year every year, and it's a little dicey knowing if funding is going to be, especially the past couple of years, the funding is going to be available. So I commend you on the work that you do, and I've seen firsthand the results of the projects that have been done in the community. So again, thank you.
Any other comments? The Deputy Mayor Bellemare.
Thank you. First of all, I was going to say, I didn't realize you guys wrote quite that many grants. That's really impressive, all the money that you're able to bring into your program and do things with, so congratulations on doing that. You have lots of really neat programs. So you mentioned with the senior program, so you're looking at that, like going forward, you're hoping that that will sort of develop a life of its own and carry on. What are you looking at for some of your other projects like Unity and that sort of thing? What do you see happening in the future for those?
I would say as far as Unity is concerned, we would really like to see it continue. Eventually, we would like to be able to hire a staff person to do the coordination role. And as far as financially keeping it going, for the first number of years, for sure, it's going to need support. You know, we are selling giftwares, and that revenue source alone isn't going to be enough to keep it rolling, but it's definitely worthwhile. We have lost a couple of women to employment, which is the exact goal of the project. And so even without, you know, those stats, which we're thankful to have, we are making a difference in the lives and the quality of the lives of the women and their children, you know, going forward. Well, some of you were there when we presented at the Chamber of Commerce luncheon. We had all of our ladies step up front with us, which was huge. And then we had one of them volunteer to speak, which was huge. And then one of them offered to do an interview with CKDM and be on the radio, which was huge. And that confidence that builds in each one of them is absolutely worth the money that the project costs. So we definitely want to keep that one going. The Green Dauphin one is sort of a sustainable project. You know, once the capital is put in place, we just want to see the savings happen as far as, you know, that budget line for Communities in Bloom, as well as, you know, it's always better for plants to not have treated water. And so that project, you know, and it could absolutely grow should the city and you know, future funders determine that that was a good idea. So that's a pilot for us to look at, you know, as far as, is this a good way to be doing our watering and stuff? Do you have anything to add to that?
I think in terms of Unity, it's just going to be continue to look for granting opportunities, but also know when we're applying for those funding opportunities that it is a unique project that's also bringing in some revenue. So you're leveraging those public dollars. We don't always see that in our grants that are out there. So it is you know, I think that will help us sell it into the future. And looking at diverse granting opportunities, we have a small one out for Community Futures to the max that we can apply, and you know, we're working to cobble things together, and we'll just keep going that direction. So
further, for your West End garden, I mean, that's really neat, all the things that you worked into there. Are you looking at any new tweaks for that this year, or are you continuing what you're doing, or what's happening with that project?
we have an application out for Green Team Manitoba, and for a summer student. I think there's an opportunity there. We don't necessarily need a full-time student in the West End Garden, but that individual might be able to do that similar. The youth programming is very popular, and I think brings people together. So we'd like to see that individual, should we be successful, do some activities in other parks and other community gardens, probably Parkland Crossing, because they've got fairly large gardens there as well. I'm not sure if we'll be adding anything there. Most likely we'll go after another small grant, but you know, things are done on a shoestring there for sure, through donations. But it would be very nice to have a student lead take on the hands-on portion. So we're always looking for ideas too. So if there's things people would like to see or ideas for programming, always open to that. Thank you.
Anybody else? Any other? I'm really excited about what, especially on the Makers project. I've seen it in action, and I think, is there a continual intake on that, or are you, what happens?
We thought we did one intake through the pilot and contemplated a second intake, but it didn't feel like a natural fit at the time. I think one of the things we've really learned is maybe we'll do 2 regular intakes in a year. So a September to December intake, and then you do your intake process, which was individual interviews to ensure you meet the eligibility criteria, so a February to June session. And then I think we're coming up on a different time because our pilot funding will end, but we know we've got space and some time, and we're really hopeful about the Community Futures Grant. So probably in those between times, the opportunity exists to do some workshops that maybe you connect with new potential participants. So you can still be learning and teaching and keeping the profile out there and selling, because we'll have that regular space and hopefully open on regular hours. So I think we're really going to see it continue to evolve as we continue to learn and talk with our participants what's worked, what hasn't worked, and get that feedback.
It's, one of the things is the word getting out on your good work. No, you know, to make sure that people are aware that there's great things happening in our community, and these, especially on, you know, whether it's the water or the Makers Project, whatever, that people have to be aware that these things are happening in our community. And if you could, I know what's going on, but a lot of people don't.
Yeah.
But congratulations, you guys do a bang-up job. I think it's just great that we see these projects go on, and it affects the lives of people, and some get work. It helps a lot. I really, as for ideas, thinking, and work closely with Phil in Brandon there. Just like if you have a good relationship with him, those things have a tendency to get through. And just continued success, and thank you very much for your presentation.
Thank you.
Moved by Councillor Juba, seconded by Councillor Riel. Be it resolved that Council accepts as information the presentation by Mary Meyer and Allison Moss from Dauphin Neighborhood Renewal Corporation. All in favor?
I agree with Johnny.
Hello, Patty.
Went straight through voicemail.
Oh, went to voicemail. Oh, okay. Okay. Well, we tried. Moved by Councillor Riel, seconded by Councillor Sticilo. Be it resolved that all items under item 5 consent agenda be approved as follows and form part of these minutes. The outstanding water accounts, $37.98, 124 4th Avenue Southeast, $43.63, 34 9th Avenue Southeast, $76.64 on 25th Avenue Southeast, and $90.51, 314 Johnson Avenue, a total of $248.76, and all the tenants failed to pay the final utility bill. And by Section 252 of the Municipal Act, these get added to the landlord's property. As recommended by the Director of Finance and the Utility Clerk. Filing items, the Association of AMM News Bulletin of February 11th, Member Advisory February 12th, FCM Voice News of February 11th, the Mountain View School Division, News Digest, February 11th. Correspondence to Brad Michaleski and MLA Rick Wolchek. Manitoba Bulletin, 2016 statistical information for municipalities. Manitoba Sport, Culture and Heritage, Designated Heritage Building Grants, Manitoba Sustainable Development, Office of the Drinking Water, CNUF 2019 sponsorship packages, Age-Friendly World newsletter, as recommended by the Mayor and Deputy City Manager. Any questions? I'll call the questions. All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Loughlin, seconded by Councillor Juba. Be it resolved that Council accepts as information the following corporate report for the February 25th, 2019 regular council meeting, and that of the Deputy City Manager. So, Deputy City Manager, go ahead.
Thank you. Good evening. I hope everyone was able to enjoy the long weekend and spend time with family in the slightly warmer weather. I believe it was warmer on Friday when I wrote my report than it is this evening. I welcome the Mayor back to his seat and thank the Deputy Mayor for her wonderful assistance during his absence. Over this time period, I worked with AllNet to negotiate the terms of a contract that will be before Council this evening. AllNet is a municipal communication software, and it's a service designed for municipalities to easily broadcast information on a wide variety of platforms from one central port. The intended use by the City of Dauphin is to provide emergency alerts to all residents via email, smartphone apps, text messages, social media, and voice phone lines. For example, if a boil water advisory is issued, the Connect Emergency Alerting allows the city to reach as many people possible in a very short amount of time. Busy Beavers, the business from Brandon, awarded the contract to remove the Dutch elm disease trees that have been marked by the province. We are required to report to the province by March 31st that all trees have been properly removed and disposed. I have received a few phone calls from property owners inquiring who is in their yard removing the trees, and others may have noticed Busy Beaver trucks around town. Unfortunately, due to an accident of the company owner, there may be some delays in completing the work this week as anticipated, but we continue to work with them to carry out their contract and meet the deadlines, and I stay in touch with Busy Beaver as she contacted me today, and they're still working on removing 2 trees that are left on their contract in town. The Manitoba Bylaw Enforcement Act came into effect in August 2016 and was adopted by the city in 2017. Recently, the city has been contacted by Greg Tremley of Canlis and Tremley of Winnipeg to inquire about the city systems and experiences since adopting the MBEA. The bylaw officer and deputy city manager participated in a conference call where the experience and successes of the MBEA system were discussed. Overall, the city uses the MBEA frequently and is satisfied with the guidelines contained in the MBEA, particularly with respect to the screening officer process. Anytime a ticket is disputed, and most often we have parking tickets issued and disputed here at City Hall, the screening officer refers to the MBEA and carries out the necessary steps. The bylaw officer is attending a professional development next week on the MBEA, and she has been asked to share her experiences with the group. As previously mentioned in my last report to Council, the city has met with public health officers in an effort to work together on properties of joint interest. We applied this strategy on February 20th, wherein the bylaw officer, public health officer, building inspector, and fire chief inspected a local property that has been issued a demolition order. This process was successful for the differing departments to work together to complete one inspection and complement the knowledge each has to offer to the situation. I look forward to continuing this relationship with public health to minimize health and safety hazards where applicable. The City of Dauphin owns the CNR station and leases out the space to businesses and organizations. Recently, there has been a lease renewal request, a newly proposed lease draft, and subletting discussions in progress. These discussions continue to be ongoing, and we support housing several offices in this provincial heritage site. There's been a fair amount of time during these last 2 weeks addressing human resource issues with other senior management and fielding phone calls and inquiries that will be discussed upon the city manager's return. I had the opportunity to join the mayor on the first ever Cities Caucus conference call. The hope is these calls will continue to occur quarterly to maintain open communication regarding the city's interests and concerns. Lastly, with spring fast approaching, I'm looking forward to partaking in this year's city's budget process. And that concludes my report for this evening.
Any questions of Councillor Deputy Mayor Bellmer?
Yes, my question is with the first item in your report with regard to the AllNet contract. So I know that's on the agenda today. So when this service is set up, then that would be the City of Dauphin's communication with the people in the City of Dauphin.
That's correct, and although AllNet provides myriad services, our main intention for the service is for urgent and emergent messages only. So as a means of quick communication. So the example I keep using is the boil advisory that was issued in the fall. Instead of everyone at City Hall phoning each hospital, daycare, school, and blasting it on all of our social medias, it will come from one central port and be distributed to all these platforms to reach as many people as quickly as possible.
So we would have our system, and I'm wondering if the province is having their system. Where I'm heading with all of this is that we just had that Amber Alert for that lost child in Ontario. And so I'm just trying to get my head around about what the different programs are for alerting people to situations that affect them and that they need to be aware of.
The province uses Alert Ready, and I think that is something that we can explore to have the two intertwined, so that you're not receiving constant alerts or how they can complement each other rather than counteract or fight with each other. So that's something we're going to learn as we continue to work with AllNet and see what they have to offer.
Right, thank you, because I think some people in Manitoba, I know myself, I was one of them that received an Amber Alert about that lost child. And first of all, I was surprised to get that alert because other than the test, I hadn't got anything. And I was saying to my friend that, because there was a lot of conversation about that afterwards, and I was saying I felt so helpless getting this because I'm going, what can I in Manitoba do when something is happening in 401, and my friend's comment was pray, and I thought, okay, I never thought of that, but you know, I mean, we're learning to deal with that, and I think we need to understand that there is an important purpose for this, and to be patient for this kind of thing that's happening. So, thank you.
I have a question on the AllNet. It just says, will all residents be contacted? Or do they have to register?
This is also a system that I'm still learning the exact details for, but they create a database for us based on the information we have as a municipality. So that would be phone numbers included in the white pages. But we also will have a registration process because if anyone's like me, I no longer have a house phone, I rely on my cell phone. So I would register with my cell phone. You can also have a smartphone app, email, and any of those types of, whichever is the best platform for you. We will have a registration process for anyone who's not automatically registered through, such as the white pages, and we'll also let the public know what those automatic registration processes are.
Any other questions? I'll call the questions. All in favor? Motion carries. Moved by Deputy Mayor Bellmer, seconded by Councilor Young. Be it resolved that the finance accounts having been examined by council be hereby authorized and approved as follows. Checks 24358 to 2441861 checks for $799,235.42. There's no voided checks, no electronic payment. Just on that, some of the big checks that make up that 799,000, 120,927.51 went our February appropriation to the Rec Commission. $24,182 for to LMP for vehicle registrations annual. Hydro, $29,701.73. And remember, in that there's the various pumping stations and all that, but we pay approximately $15,000 for the streetlights. And the big one is the fourth quarter RCMP lease contract for $462,133. So that's what makes up the big portion of the $799. Any questions? Call the questions, all in favor, motion carried. Moved by Councillor Yale, seconded by Councillor Loughlin, be it to resolve that council accepts as information the following engineering department staff report for February 25th, 2019, the regular council meeting, that of the building inspector, and there's only one item on there. It's usually slow in January. So, any questions? Call the questions, all in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Juba, second by Deputy Mayor Bellemare, be it resolved that the council accepts as information the minutes and reports of the following committee meetings. One of the Parkland Regional Library, the minutes from February 9, 2019, and the director's report, the salaries history, and the financial position and budget. And of the report, the public library of February 12th, 2019, the fiscal financial position and budget. Just from, I thank Deputy Mayor Bellemare for attending the regional meeting, and from what I understand, the 50-cent levy was added to all the partners and based on population, so that'll take a $4,000 amount onto our city budget. And also, committee has been struck for recruitment since our library director is retiring. And that's apparently, that's the problem of not being there. I was put on the committee.
You're put on the committee.
And Mr. Matcher from Gilbert Plains and
Is it Gene Geisel?
Gene Geisel from Oka River. So we'll start in the process of looking for a recruitment there.
I was led to believe you had volunteered.
Oh, really? Okay. And in the public library, there's no increase of the city contribution. Any questions? We'll call the questions, all in favor. Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Staccato, seconded by Councillor Loughlin, where it is beneficial for a municipality to have a means of contacting the majority of residents with urgent or emergent message, be it resolved that council accepts as information the AllNet software license agreement from Vern Sabisky, managing partner of AllNet Municipal Solutions, outlining a contract for the city of Dauphin to provide municipal messaging software. And further, be it resolved that council accepts as information a memorandum dated from February 22nd from the deputy city manager outlining the need for this software and its possible uses. And further, be it resolved that council agrees with the deputy city manager and authorizes the the mayor and deputy city manager to sign and seal the agreement on behalf of the city of Dauphin. It's about, be an annual cost of about $5,000 to the city for the initial and then the maintenance of it. Any questions? Councillor Real.
Under section 15 there, it says software, or sorry, data storage. Do you know where the data will be stored? Will that be in City Hall, or how's that gonna?
Somewhere it said it's gonna be in a server in a Canadian city. So it's not.
Right, so we will have the port to send the message, but the data will be held by AllNet to, they will control the database, so they'll have the storage unit and we'll have the port to be able to send out the ability to relay the messages.
Okay, and that's secure? You're confident that's secure, the data?
Yeah, we have faith in the company. They're a reputable company. They're actually the one that's being used by the RM right now. So the RM recommended them. We spoke to them at the AMM conference. We went to their booth, and they've assured us that they have strictly followed the guidelines necessary in order to secure our information. I know that's a hot topic of breach of security right now, but we're confident that they'll be able to meet our needs.
Okay, thanks.
Any other questions? All in favor? Motion carried. The other thing, there's an article in the Winnipeg Free Press on cybersecurity for municipalities. Well, some places that got hit. And it's a big thing. It's no chicken feed. It's big amounts. So we're constantly upgrading our security in our system. So it's a big threat, and big communities, health institutions in the states have got hit big dollars. Moved by Councillor Juba, seconded by Deputy Mayor Bellemare. Be it resolved that Council accepts this information, correspondence received February 7th, 2019 from Lori Bickelmeyer, coordinator of the Dauphin at-risk teen program, regarding the organization 2019-2020 funding proposal and their request for a grant of $10,000. That's the same as last year, right? Yeah. And further, be it resolved, the council forwards the request to the 2019 budget deliberations. Any questions? All the questions, all in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Riel, seconded by Councillor Juba. Be it resolved that council accepts this information, a memorandum dated February 25th, 2019, from the Economic Development Manager requesting the City of Dauphin to provide a letter of support for Community Futures Parkland for submission of interest for the new Rural and Northern Immigration Pilot Program to attract and retain newcomers who can fill economic and labor market needs in the parkland. And further, be it resolved that council supports continuing to grow the population of Dauphin and surrounding communities by helping to address the labor needs of our local businesses. Further, be it resolved that council provides a letter of support to Community Futures Parkland for the community interest form submission. So this is another interest type of thing. And any questions? All in favor? Motion carried. Moved by Councillor Juba, seconded by Councillor Riel. Be it resolved, Council accepts this information invitations to the events listed below the invitations from Prairie Mountain Health Stakeholders Meeting on February 27, 2019. I think that's at 10 o'clock in the morning. So for an hour, if any counselors willing to come to that. It's update on what they've been doing in the Parkland region. Second, the EMO 2019 Flood Preparedness Seminar, March 11th, 12th, and 13th. And 3, the Association of Manitoba Municipalities, the Education Workshop, Governance Training for Elected Official on March the 18th. That's sort of part of the 3-day meeting. Any questions on that? And also the Ukrainian Catholic Women's League for the 24th annual Dauphin Tea on March the 16th. And I think it starts at 1:30. So be there. Any questions? All in favor? Motion's carried. My sister's one of the co-conveners, so they'll have a lot of sandwiches, for sure.
I saved you a spot there last year.
So now we go into councilor privileges. I don't know, Deputy Mayor Bellmer, where you started last.
I started the opposite of where you started the meeting before, so.
Oh, God.
I started
Christian.
I started Christian, okay, so I started at Carrie.
Okay, councilor, where we are.
Trick question.
Thank you, Mayor Dauphin, and welcome back. February 11th, I attended the regular City Council meeting here at City Hall. February 13th, I attended a Crisis Prevention Task Force meeting at Parkland Crossing. Mark Sefton with Global Network for Community Safety from Brandon provided a 2-hour presentation to us on community mobilization. They've been doing the program for 4 years. They've had 501 reported situations dealing with people who are acutely at risk. And I just found it very interesting that the top 5 risk factors of these 501 people, number 1 was drug abuse, number 2 was negative behavior, number 3 was alcohol abuse, number 4 was mental health, and number 5 was housing. And in their 501 people that they've helped, they haven't had anybody refuse assistance. February 14th, I attended with 2 other people, Manitoba Municipalities training, one-day training workshop. Once elected, what's expected. Very interesting, very good learnings. 50+ people from various municipalities, I would say, were all in attendance. And herein ends my report.
Thank you, Councilor. Deputy Mayor Bellmer.
On February 12th, I attended the Community Foundation meeting, and for those groups applying for grants, the deadline for this round of applications is at the end of the month on Thursday, and you can contact Kit Daly at the office in City Hall if you need assistance. There was a grant workshop last week for groups that were interested in applying, but there still may be more people out there. And one thing new this year is that usually the only intake is for the end of February, and this year we're having 2 intakes. So if your group isn't prepared at this time to get your application in, there will be another day in the fall, and you can watch for that. As Councillor Reel mentioned, I attended the training offered by the Association of Manitoba Municipalities. So a full day of various speakers, and they gave us all kinds of very helpful information. So there were sessions on the Ombudsman's Office, economic development, managing our community's waste, as well as many other sessions. Around the community, on February 14th, I ate at Karina's for Valentine's Day, and I'm mentioning that because, I mean, we know they provide wonderful food in our community, but Karina's son Jonathan provided live music, and they had tablecloths and candlelight and flowers, and it was just, you know, a regular business that just stepped it up for the night and just provided a beautiful experience. So congratulations for that business for making that special event for our community. On the 18th, I took part in the snowshoe event at Salah that Rotary put on, and it was a beautiful day to travel on those scenic trails around there. And part of the route was on the biking trail, so it was good to see their development. And later this week, the Co-op Family Trail will be officially opened at 11:30 on Friday. And the trailhead for that is just go to Riding Mountain National Park, and just before you go in the gate, turn to the right where the water treatment plant is. And these trails will be providing an active living opportunity for all ages and all ability levels. So everyone in Dauphin will be able to use these trails. And that, of course, is much better for us than sitting on our screens and staying at home. Plus, these trails will also provide an economic development opportunity for our community. They'll draw bikers from all over the province, the country, and beyond. And of course, we know that that means money for our community. February 20th, I attended the agency luncheon at the Dauphin Friendship Center. And going to events such as this is a great way for different agencies to communicate about their latest projects and events. And the Friendship Center provided a tasty lunch, and I mention that because that kitchen that provided that lunch is the same one that provides food for the Food for Thought program. So that program, if people are unaware, is the one that provides hot lunches 3 days a week for all of our elementary schools during the winter months. So the kids love having those hot meals. So if you have some extra money and you want to donate it, the Friendship Center would gladly accept that. If you're looking for a volunteer opportunity, they are always looking for kitchen helpers and drivers and servers, and I know the Dauphin Kings are involved in that program, and their services are very much appreciated by the Friendship Center as well as the elementary kids, like knowing that the Dauphin Kings are serving them their lunch. And on February 21st, I attended the music event at the Dauphin Library, and I'd like to thank our library director, J.L. Gios. He was mentioned earlier by Mayor Dauphin as the person who is retiring, but one of the things he has brought to our community is he's brought the opportunity for us to have live music at the library on the third Thursdays of the month, and the Brandon University Orchestra and Choir happened to be in town that day, and so JL scooped them up and made sure that they came and performed there, and they were magnificent. So the interesting thing about that band too is or that group of about 35 people is the director said to them, "How many of you are from Manitoba?" And about a third of them put up their hands. "And how many of you are from Canada?" And there were another half dozen. And the rest were from outside of the country. So Brandon's university program is very, very well known, and you know, we in Dauphin got to listen to their talent that evening, and that was pretty amazing. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Councillor Juba.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On February 11th, I attended the regular City Council meeting here at City Hall. On the 12th, I attended the Dauphin District Chamber of Commerce Community Connections Luncheon at the Aspen Lodge, Virginia Place. It's quite an interesting presentation on the different generations of people that work in our workforce. And it was an interesting topic, as whether you're working in private enterprise or whether you're working for whoever you work for, there are different generations of people in our workforce, and we have to understand where everybody's coming from so that we can, at the end of the day, come to the same conclusion and be productive. On the 14th, I attended along with my two fellow councillors to my right, I attended the AMM Once Elected, Once Expected seminar at Aspen Lodge. As mentioned, there was excellent information provided on stuff that's, it was an excellent review, and they've also indicated that there will be further mandatory seminars coming out this fall that all municipal officials must take to that. But more information on that will be provided in the fall. On the 19th, I attended an informal meeting with the Riverside manager and board chair at the Dauphin Riverside Cemetery. Just an informal meeting to get an overview of the Riverside board and cemetery operations, as I was newly appointed to that committee. Indicated to both the manager and the board chair that I was looking forward to our first board meeting with the rest of the committee, and looking forward. I hope we can just continue the good work that the cemetery does for our community, as they do provide a vital service. For community events, on the 18th, it was a busy day for myself on Louis Riel Day. Started off the morning by attending a pancake breakfast at the Dauphin Friendship Center. The donations were also to the Food for Thought program, and it was well attended. People came in, had a bite to eat, and then some attended. I attended the activities at Fort Dauphin Museum later on in the afternoon, and there was many events from wagon rides, snowshoe racing, the trading post and blacksmith shop were open. The Camel Band and the D-Town Steppers provided entertainment inside the museum. It was well attended. It was a wonderful day, as Deputy Mayor Bellmeyer indicated. It was a good day to get outside and enjoy some fresh air. While I was there, I received a huge thank you from it was a big thank you to the city staff who made sure that the snow was cleared for the parking lot, so that the people who attended that meeting or that event had lots of room to park. It was nice to hear that are nice to be appreciated. I too attended the third Thursday music event at the Dauphin Public Library. The library hosted the Brandon University Choral Orchestra, and it was a regional tour. It was their third performance of the day, and they were, as mentioned, magnificent. And I really enjoyed the conservatory piece. But it was well attended. I've never seen that many people at a third Thursday event. It was excellent. Kudos to the organizers for that. February 22nd, of course, I attended the Kings and Queen Gala fundraising for our local chapter, Habitat for Humanity. As chair of the committee, I want to again thank Anna Risco for taking the lead and organizing the gala. She did a fantastic job. A few notable thank yous amongst the many. I want to thank our local Dauphin Kings for assisting at the gala. They also participated by signing the lumber that will be used in the build, and it will be part of our community for many years to come. The Dauphin Community Jazz Band performed during the cocktail hours, and I want to thank the many other sponsors and donors who contributed to make this a very special event. And I do want to take a special moment to thank the organizers and the participants for the Coldest Night fundraising event, which was held on Saturday evening. From all accounts, it was a successful event, and I'm hearing stories that $10,000 plus was raised from that event, and it's great that we had huge participation and great donors in this community. I want to end my remarks by wishing Tilly Lewicki 100th birthday celebration. Her whole family were in town on the weekend, and I had a chance to visit with some of them, as I know some of her family, and it was a great chance to wish someone a special day. So, Mr. Mayor, that's my report.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Juba. Councillor Staccato.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. For myself, February 11th, I was in attendance for the council meeting, and on February 20th, there was a Dauphin neighborhood renewal meeting. It was great again to see Mary and Allison here just highlighting past year's events, but one of the things that was brought up at this past meeting is the fact that we follow the provincial year end, so that's coming up to a close at the end of March. And you would think that giving away $25,000 in grants is pretty simple. You'd think people would want, organizations would want free money out there, but we come to the end of the year every year and we have a little bit of money left over. So I definitely encourage any organizations or groups out there to put in, maybe if you don't think your organization or your group will fit the criteria, have a chat with Mary or Allison and find out, if it does fit, because we do have quite a bit of money to give away to local projects. So don't be afraid for that. So again, the great work that they do there, and we were just kind of starting to wrap up the year-end stuff there at that meeting. For a couple of reminders, February 28th, the Chamber of Commerce is holding another breakfast seminar. Those ones start pretty early at 7 o'clock in the morning, and they're over at the Super 8. This month's session is being hosted by Richard Bankert, and it's on Facebook business pages. And also had a couple of other things here that were already mentioned, so I won't go over those, but one other thing, we got a handout here following the Chamber of Commerce theme, is the call for nominations for parkland businesses and individuals in the community. Dauphin's really blessed with some excellent volunteers and community champions, and this is one of the ways to celebrate their hard work and accomplishments. So this year's categories are Business Person of the Year, Legacy Business Award, Young Entrepreneur of the Year, Community Appreciation Individual, and Community Appreciation Group. There's a nomination form to fill out. The awards will be handed out at the Chamber Celebration Night on March 13th, and the deadline for nominations is March 5th. So with that, you can contact Stephen Chakota at the Chamber, and he'll be more than happy to assist you. And with that, that ends my report.
Thank you, Councillor Stakaya. Councillor Locke.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On February the 11th, I of course attended the regular council meeting. On February 20th, I had a chance to attend the agency luncheon at the Dauphin Friendship Center. Heard from a number of key organizations within the community. Obviously, that includes Habitat for Humanity, the Dauphin Public Library, and many more. So congrats on a well-run event there at the Friendship Center. Lindsay Sanderson. Obviously, the food was excellent, so thank you there. On February the 22nd, as Rodney mentioned, myself and the Dauphin Kings attended the Habitat for Humanity Kings and Queens Gala. Congratulations to Anna Orisco, Rodney, along with all the other members on a successful event. I know, Rodney, they're waiting on the final numbers there, but I know that it'll be a successful event from a fundraising standpoint. Just before I do end my report, I have some quick notes. This is kind of a big one. On February the 16th, the Dauphin Kings defeated the Steinbach Pistons 2-1. That clinched the hockey club a playoff spot for the first time in 4 years. Doug Zawina and a few other people will tell you that the Kings made the playoffs 2 years ago. That was Survivor Series. I don't really consider that a playoff berth. That's just best of 3. These playoffs will be best of 7, so I'd like to encourage everyone within the community to support us, the Dauphin Kings. We don't know who will be playing just yet, but it's likely going to be either Portage or Swan River. I'd say it's a pretty good chance it's going to be Swan River, so that's a pretty big rivalry there, so we'll need everyone's support on the bandwagon. Playoffs will likely start on Friday, March 8th. Tickets will be on sale next week. And just a few other notes. February is coming to an end, which February is I Love to Read Month. Had a chance to attend with the Dauphin Kings to a number of schools this past month. At Cole McNeil, Barker. We're going to actually be going to Whitmore on Wednesday for our last I Love to Read of the month session. So we're really looking forward to that. But thanks to all the schools for letting us come and read to you for the last month or so. And as Kathy mentioned, the Food for Thought program this past week was actually the last time the Kings were going to serve lunch at schools. So thanks to the Dauphin Friendship Center for allowing us to be a part of that this year. And yeah, that ends my report.
Thank you, Councillor Lofton. And now the student council or student rep, Ashton.
First off, I attended the February 11th regular council meeting. I would just like to say how well Deputy Mayor ran the meeting. I think she did a good job. On February 19th, I had the opportunity to attend an MVSD stakeholders meeting where we discussed school boards and funding. At this meeting, I found out that the province in Manitoba wants to cut school boards. Discussions were held throughout the meeting on why we think this is a bad idea for MVSD students and staff. Most people were against this. I attended student council meetings on February 13th and 20th. I attended a student voice meeting on February 21st where we brought the information from the stakeholders meeting and discussed it. As a cast member, I attended musical practices on February 12th, 17th, and 24th. I attended Third Thursday Music at the Dauphin Public Library, where the Brandon University Choir and Orchestra performed several songs. I would just like to say how wonderful the Third Thursday Music program is. I've attended several concerts and have had a great time. I look forward to performing at the next Third Thursday Music in March with the DRCSS Choir and the Parkland Women's Choir. The Third Thursday Music program is a great opportunity for the people of Dauphin to enjoy free music. And finally, on March 14th, I will have the opportunity to attend the Manitoba School Divisions Conference in Winnipeg with Student Voice, where we will be giving a presentation about the Student Voice Committee. Thank you. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Ashton. You've been busy. On January 30th, I attended the rec board meeting. That's there's one this Wednesday again. One of the highlights, I received letters from the Henderson School grade 3-4 class on what Dauphin needs. And some of the interesting ideas, well, there was 4 letters or 4 wanted arcade. Okay, so, and then an interesting one, he wanted a pizza place by KFC in case you didn't like chicken. Interesting. The other, very good one was the greenhouse for the lunch program. I thought that was, well, you know, like always looking for donations and that, and you could use the produce from the greenhouse. Something maybe one of the groups can consider. They wanted a return of outdoor skating rinks at school, 1 letter. And that was because of the use of wasn't the rinks at the schools was just not utilized. So Dauphin Rec canceled that program. A youth gym with a trampoline and a rock wall. I thought that was interesting too. So, and this majority of the source of the funds was the mud run. I thought that was interesting. So, yeah, I'll be replying to the Henderson School, and it's great to get some young ideas in there. I attended the BU choir and ensemble on February 21st. Very talented. February 19th, we had the city caucus meeting, teleconference, and one of the 2 items that we discussed was the road and bridge program, and that was, they said to listen to the provincial budget on March 7th on that. So they say it might be good news. So well, we'll see. And considerable discussion on cannabis revenue sharing, and that is another hot topic that will be discussed with the provincial and federal government. And on February 19th, I attended the public library meeting. So, for councillors, you've been busy, and we're heading into the budget area time of the city council, and we're I think planning a audit finance meeting next week to transfers of various, there's a small surplus. We don't know exactly how much and how that's going to be distributed into the reserves. Moved by Councillor Riel and seconded by Councillor Juba. Since we have nothing for us for the 13 agenda, that this meeting be resolved. And be it resolved that the council meeting be adjourned at 6:15.